United to regret Haaland transfer. Barca president hates VAR. There's an inspirational story coming out of Serie A, transfer roundup, and today's Emoji Mondays all coming up in the next few minutes. As I'm your host, Matt Froelich, you are the Onefootballers, and this is the Daily News. First up, and according to Manchester United legend Paul Scholes, United are going to regret Erling Haaland, moving to Dortmund. They apparently have missed out on him big time, according to the midfielder. Now, this is all because they're in the January transfer window. It looks like, for all intents and purposes, that Haaland was going to be moving to United. They'd been in contact with his agent Mino Raiola, they'd agreed a fee, and it looked like the player wanted to join, but for whatever reason, he decided the move to Dortmund was better. You can hardly blame him because it's worked out really, really well, because he can't stop finding the back of the net. But on the flip side to this, I'm not so sure, looking at Manchester United's recent performances. At the time, yes, I said they should have signed Haaland, whether or not he'd get regular game time. And if he did, there'd be a massive decision to make around another of the front three. They're doing incredible. I think altogether they've scored over 50 goals in all competitions this season, and they're on absolute fire. I think Haaland would be brilliant. He'd also be banging in the goals for United, but that would leave Martial out the team, and there'd just be a few more questions around this transfer. Right now, I don't think they're going to go back in for him. I think if Haaland goes, which looks like it's going to happen next summer, not really this summer when his release clause is back open, he's going to have a lot of potential suitors, and more than likely, in my opinion, I think he'll end up at Real Madrid. And I'm not so sure Manchester United are going to go and compete with that when, as we mentioned, they've got so many amazing young talents anyway. But moving on and to Barcelona now, and their president absolutely hates VAR. Or is he just a little bit bitter? He was talking about how apparently since the return of football after the COVID-19, VAR is favoriting one team, shall we say. He was referencing the game between Atletico Bilbao and Real Madrid, where Real Madrid got a penalty, again, which Sergio Ramos scored, again, to give them 3 points. Again. In fact, Real Madrid have won all 7 games since the restart and are 4 points clear of Barcelona. Now, honestly, one part of me thinks a penalty is a penalty. I don't care if it's the first minute, the last minute. I don't care if there's 10 in a match. I don't care if it's a red card. A penalty is in the rules of football, and if you foul someone in the box, there's going to be one. Having said that, I can see why teams and the Barcelona president are probably a little bit suspicious that Real Madrid continuously get penalties. I saw the one against Marcelo, and I think, again, it's another one of those on VAR where when you slow it down, you see the contact. Like they were doing it on the TV, and they pause the frame, like right on his foot, and then you're like, yeah, there's the contact. Pausing a TV screen though and pointing at the contact on the top of Marcelo's foot is completely different to how it runs at full speed whilst it's happening. I mean, yeah, I guess I can't argue with it. Not that I want to argue with it. I guess you can't really argue with it. There was a penalty. He stood on Marcelo's foot, and that's that. But you can kind of see how things are maybe looking a little bit in Real Madrid's favour. On the flip side of this though, Barcelona did keep up their faint hopes of winning La Liga, and they are 4 points behind with a brilliant 4-1 victory at Villarreal. And I do want to give a shout out first off to Messi, who now has 19 assists in La Liga, the best in his career, and also Antoine Griezmann. Now, Griezmann scored an outrageous goal. That's the only way to describe it. Messi flicked the ball back and Griezmann chipped the keeper. This is very similar to the chip that Messi scored at Betis, and everyone went nuts. Rightly so. It was an unbelievable goal. I just want to give a shout out to Griezmann. You know, people, me especially, give him a lot of shit because he's had a pretty poor season. In fact, that was his 9th La Liga goal of the campaign in 33 appearances. But that was a phenomenal goal. Lovely, lovely stuff. On top of this, Ansu Fati scored yet again to, just kind of emphasise that he really is a rising star. And in fact, that was the 9,000th goal in Barcelona's illustrious history. So next up, and to a rather heartwarming story on the weekend coming out of Serie A, and that revolves around Moussa Jawara. Now, if you haven't heard of him, he is the Bologna player who came off the bench, equalised the scoring against Inter Milan, and set them up for a late 2-1 victory, which only really strengthens Juventus' grip at the top. Not like Inter are challenging anyway, because they're now quite a fair few points behind. But as for Jawara, completes an unbelievable rise as he left his home country of Gambia just 14 years old, travelled to Italy, became adopted by a youth football coach, trained, managed to get to Bologna. He hasn't been given too many appearances this season, but came off the bench and scored at the San Siro. That is unbelievable stuff. You love to see it, and it's a real good story out of football on a weekend where there haven't been too many. So next up, and a quick roundup of the rest of the day's transfer news, where Alain Saint-Maximin, the flying Newcastle winger, is apparently attracting interest from Napoli and Arsenal. Hansi Flick has said he will still be doing his best to try and keep Thiago at Bayern Munich. Danny Rose has said his Spurs career is all but over and it looks like he'll be leaving the club in the summer. And apparently if Ivan Rakitic is going to leave Barcelona in the summer, he has the choice between Sevilla and Atletico Madrid. So next up, and we look back on your Friday feels, that is your footballing predictions in the comment section of Friday's Daily News. And I'm going to be honest, not too many people got it right this weekend. There were a few shock results in there. But yeah, it took me quite a while to find just 3 of you who actually got something right. First off, Levi Toure guessed that Juventus would win 4-1 against Torino in the derby. Abdullah Abdelaziz correctly guessed that Chelsea would beat Watford 3-0, and they did so with a goal from Ross Barkley in the 92nd minute to make his prediction true. And Classic Football guessed that QPR would steal a 1-0 victory away at Middlesbrough. I guess 3-0, I really overshot it there. Sorry QPR fans, but at least you got your 3 points. So finally, we come to Emoji Mondays. This is where we at Onefootball throw a couple of emojis down over some of the weekend's action. Now, first off, I'm going for the best player. That is Mason Greenwood. Seems like there's nothing this kid can't do. Another unbelievable performance. Great skills, great maturity, and looks like a really accomplished professional already, despite just being 18 years old. 2 goals against Bournemouth as United kept up their fine form. Next up, and the craziest moment of the weekend, Cristiano Ronaldo scored a free kick. That's definitely not something you'd thought you'd hear someone say earlier in his career, that it was mad to think he scored, but he did. And it was like the first time in 43 attempts. I'm not even sure if it was 43 attempts or just 43 attempts for Juventus. Whatever it's been, for someone who's got such a reputation for being good at free kicks, that's an awful long time without scoring one. Anyway, that was an absolute banger, so fair play to him. And finally, the best result of the weekend, Southampton beating Manchester City 1-0. It was a great finish from Shea Adams, and unbelievably, it's the first time in Pep Guardiola's career that he and one of his sides has lost 3 away games in a row. The defending champions, well, they were defending champions until Liverpool took the title, have now lost 9 games this season. They'll definitely be looking to get their crown back next campaign. So there you have it. That is all from me for today on today's Daily News. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below, especially your Emoji Mondays and your feelings on the rest of the day's news. Whilst you're at it, you can smash the like button and click here or here to check out all of the other videos we've got going on Onefootball. But until next time, I will see you guys later.